knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who will, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall ever be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. The reason I bring that up is because every single one of you answered the nation's call at one time or another. Every single one of you stepped into the arena. You didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but together you looked beside you to the left and right to those other young men and women who answered the nation's call, who stepped into the arena. It is a fraction of our society that's willing to do that. And you're among them. And the fact that I can be able to stand here with you all tonight and share that common bond, share that bond of being willing to step into that arena. You did it at one time, and I promise you, men and women like myself are going to continue to step into the arena just as you did. My only hope is that we can continue to make you proud, because I am damn proud of every single one of you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you continue to do by representing what's best of the American people. Again, it's my honor to be here tonight. I look forward to being able to meet with every single one of you. Thank you for your time tonight. Semper Fidelis.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Major. I appreciate your comments. And I've got to tell you that as a retired Marine myself, when the Sergeant Major shows up, you still get a little, and knowing that he was a Marine Corps drill instructor too, you know that he's got that switch, so. Either way. So now we are going to get into our evening's events, okay? First, some administrative remarks. So we are going to begin with our with our World War II veteran, our Korean War veterans, and our Cold War veterans, okay? So once we have finished your portion of the ceremony, I understand it has been an incredibly long day, and I applaud you for your energy and enthusiasm. You guys have been just absolutely fantastic. But what I would like to do is extend an invitation to you is once your portion of our evening is finished, you are welcome to go turn to your rooms. You are absolutely welcome to do that, okay? Administrative remark numero 1. Tomorrow morning, breakfast will be served at 7 a.m. All right, I'm done. Breakfast tomorrow begins at 7 a.m., okay? So please don't come down here at 5:30 knocking on the door. And I don't think that the Bay Area folks would appreciate you stealing all their coffee. But 7 a.m., okay? 7 a.m., that's when our meal, the doors will open for us, and we'll be able to get in here and enjoy it. Tomorrow, our first stop is going to be at the U.S. Capitol to visit with our Congressman Vince Fong and get a nice view of the Capitol from the interior, right? I'm excited for that. Capitol Police will be here at 7:30 to sweep our vehicles, and then they'll provide an escort for us to the U.S. Capitol. We will begin loading our buses at 0800, okay? So breakfast begins at, and we begin loading buses at 8, okay? So to kind of recap, our World War II, Korean, and Cold War veterans when your portion of this program is complete, please feel free to turn 2 for the evening. If you would like to stay, you're more than welcome. I'm not kicking you out the door. It's your choice. For our Vietnam veterans, we're in this for the long haul, okay? Jeff, we want to start here, come this way. Start here, come this way. Okay. So I'm going to call everyone up in groups alphabetically. What I'd like for you to do is we'll line up to my left, your right, over here. We'll come forward as I read your biography. You'll have an opportunity to take a photograph. You'll receive a couple of tokens of Honor Flight Kern County's appreciation, and then you're welcome to go back to your seat. Guardians, if your veteran needs assistance, please come up with your veteran. If your veteran needs a transport chair, please make sure that that transport chair is available, all right? Scott and Deanna have had a wonderful time, and let's try and let them have a relaxing evening, okay? By the way, bravo, thank you. So without further ado, may I have our World War II, Korean, and Cold War era veterans to my right, beginning with Mr. Mel Corin. Mel Corin, Corporal, United States Army, World War II. Hometown location entered service of Stockton, California. His dates of service are from March 1943 to January of 1946. He received basic training at Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland. After additional training, he became a clerk. Mel was sent to Camp Young in Indio, California to serve with the 478th Tank Evacuation Company, where he took combat and tank training. He was then sent to Fort Dix, New Jersey, where he boarded a troop transport headed for Africa. However, the ship was redirected to Liverpool, England. He was stationed a year in the UK at the Vehicle Depot in Thatcham, West Berkshire, where the troops from the 478th were tasked with building the depot to receive the vehicles that would be coming to the docks at Liverpool and used for the upcoming D-Day invasion of Europe. He was moved into administration to maintain the records of the vehicles and their maintenance. He was then sent to France a couple of months after D-Day and eventually transferred to supply headquarters in the European Theater in Paris after it was liberated. Mr. Mel Corin. Bob, are you with us this evening? Bob Evans. Bob, come on down. Frank Fisher, John Gonzalez, Dan Hitchcock. Can you please come to my left, your right? Bob Evans, Airman First Class, United States Air Force, Cold War. Hometown location entered service of San Jose, California. His dates of service are from November 1958 to September of 1962. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Bob served as an autopilot repairman on many different types of fighter and cargo aircraft. He was stationed at Glasgow Air Force Base in Montana and overseas at Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa, Mr. Bob Evans. Frank Fisher. Frank Fisher, Airman First Class, United States Air Force, Cold War. Hometown location and service of Wildwood, Florida. His dates of service are from January 1956 to January of 1960. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. After AIT at Kessler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi, Frank served in intelligence with the Air Force Security Service as an intercept radio operator. He was stationed at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines with the 6925th Radio Squadron Mobile, which intercepted and analyzed foreign radio communications. He was also stationed with the 76th Fighter Intercept Squadron in Pine Castle Air Force Base in Orlando, Florida. He is the recipient of a National Defense Medal, Mr. Frank Fisher. John Gonzalez. John Gonzalez, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Cold War, and Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from February 1958 to February of 1963. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. John served as a jet mechanic in Marine aviation with the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Marine aircraft wings. He became a squad leader and maintained F-8 Crusaders and A-4 Skyhawks. He was stationed overseas in Newfoundland Air Force Base and temporary additional duty in Korea, Japan, and Taiwan on various aircraft carriers. He was stationed stateside at Camp Pendleton, California, Jacksonville, Florida, El Toro, California, and Cherry Point, North Carolina. He is the recipient of a National Defense Medal, Mr. John Gonzalez. Dan Hitchcock. Dan Hitchcock, Private First Class, United States Army, Korea. Location entered service of Modesto, California. His dates of service are from November 1952 to November of 1954. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Dan served as a personnel typist. He was stationed at Fort Ord, California, and overseas as a part of the occupation force at Warner Kaserne Army Air Base in Munich, Germany. He also served as the assistant manager of the base movie theater. He is the recipient of an Army Occupational Medal, as you were, Army Occupation Medal, and the National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Dan Hitchcock. Norma Lamassas. First Lieutenant, United States Air Force, Korea. Hometown location entered service of Llewellyn, New England. Dates of service are from February 1952 to May of 1954. She received basic training at Gunter Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama. Upon graduating from high school in 1943, Norma enrolled in the United States Cadet Nurse Corps in Denver, Colorado, where she received professional training in exchange for a commitment to serve the war effort. By the time she completed her education, World War II had ended, but she went on to serve in several military hospitals across the country as a cadet nurse, including Denver, Van Nuys, Miami, and New York. She cared for patients ranging from newborns to wounded veterans returning from the war. In 1952, Norma received a commission and entered the United States Air Force, serving as a flight nurse. She was stationed at Gunter Air Force Base in Alabama and Bolling Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. She is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Ms. Norma Lamassas. John Leishman. Don't worry, Buzz, you're next. Are you in here? John Leishman, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, United States Navy, Cold War. Hometown location entered service of Gardena, California. His dates of service are from December 1955 to December of 1958. He received basic training in San Diego, California. John served as an aviation machinist mate. He served overseas at Subic Bay Naval Station in the Philippines. Mr. John Leishman. Buzz Wells. Buzz Wells, Captain, United States Air Force, Cold War and Vietnam. Hometown location entered service, Commerce, Georgia? Commerce, Georgia. His dates of service are from July 1960 to December of 1963. He received basic training at the Georgia Tech AFROTC in Atlanta, Georgia. After graduating from Georgia Tech with a degree in mechanical engineering, Buzz served with the Air Force Systems Command Air Force Rocket Propulsion Laboratory at Edwards Air Force Base, where he did rocket propulsion technology and development. He reached the rank of captain through inactive reserves. He is the recipient of the Guided Missile Insignia. He continued to work at Edwards Air Force Base as a civilian and was part of many other projects, too numerous to list, including work on the space shuttle programs. Mr. Buzz Wells. Thank you very much. Those individuals, that is the end of our World War II, Korean, and Cold War era veterans. As I mentioned earlier, you're welcome to leave. You're also more than welcome to stay. One thing I did not mention, when you look over to my right, you're going to see a stack of boxes. You're going to see a stack of boxes, and each one of our veterans in this room are going to receive that box. Inside of that box is the American flag. That flag was flown over the United States Capitol at the request of Congressman Vince Fong for each and every one of you. So thank you, Congressman Fong. Truly appreciate it every time. Vietnam veterans, are we ready? Here we go. So if your last name begins with the letter A or B, can you please gather up to my left? A or B? Beginning with Wayne Abraham. Yeah. Guardians, please accompany your veterans up here at this moment. We want to capture this moment with you. So please come up with your veterans. Wayne Abraham, Corporal, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Santa Paula, California. His dates of service are from August 1970 to April 1972. He received basic training in Oakland, California. After AIT at Fort Gordon, Georgia, Wayne served in Vietnam with the 101st Airborne, 1st Aviation Battalion, and the 142nd Transportation Battalion as a radio operator and cryptographic operator inside the wire. He was stationed at Phu Bai, then Da Nang. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, Mr. Wayne Abraham. John Alejandro. John Alejandro, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from July 1974 to July 1977. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. John served as a radio telephone operator at the Command Company Headquarters with the 1st Marine Division at Camp Pendleton, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a rifle sharpshooter badge, and a letter of appreciation, Mr. John Alejandro. June. Bruce Anderson. Bruce Anderson, Petty Officer, 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown, location, entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1968 to October of 1972. He received basic training at San Diego, California. Bruce served as a cook on the carrier USS Midway, which was home-ported in San Diego. While he was on board, the Midway took part in naval operations off the coast of Vietnam. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, Mr. Bruce Anderson. Lonnie Andrews. Lonnie Andrews, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown, location, entered service of Idaho Falls, Idaho. His dates of service are from June 1974 to June 1978. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Lonnie served as an airframe repair specialist. He was a crew chief on the C-130 Hercules cargo airplane. He was stationed stateside at Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina and overseas at Mildenhall in England, Rhein-Main Air Force Base in Germany, and in Greece. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, Mr. Lonnie Andrews. Bruce Barker. Bruce Barker, Petty Officer, 1st Class, United States Navy. Hometown, location, entered service of Lebec, California. His dates of service are from January 1971 to January 1975, and then again from March of 1975 to March of 1980. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Bruce served as an interior communications electrician technician. He did a 4-year tour of duty and re-enlisted for another 5 years. He served aboard 5 different ships, including the LST USS Racine and the amphibious transport dock ship USS Ogden. He did shore duty at the amphibious base at Coronado Island and did electrical checks on the carriers USS Kitty Hawk and Ranger. He was also stateside at Long Beach and overseas at the Panama Canal, Chile, and Peru. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Bruce Barker. Brian Bateness. Brian Bateness, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown, location, entered service of Ridgecrest, California. His dates of service are from May 1969 to January 1972. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and airborne school at Fort Benning, Georgia, Brian reported to Fort Bragg, North Carolina with the 82nd Airborne Division. He served in Vietnam as a heavy equipment operator with the 18th Engineer Brigade, attached to the 82nd Airborne, at Whiskey Mountain in 2 Corps, where he operated a D9 bulldozer constructing and maintaining roads. He was later assigned to the 9th Engineer Battalion, Delta Company, in Aschaffenburg, Germany. He is the recipient of a parachutist badge, a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, and 2 overseas bars. Mr. Brian Bateness. Thomas Bellflower. Thomas Bellflower, Petty Officer, 1st Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown, location, entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1962 to October of 1982. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Over the span of his 20-year career, Thomas served as a cook and dining room supervisor. Much of that time was aboard various ships on several West Packs, including the carrier USS Saratoga and the repair ship USS Hector. His final ship duty was aboard the submarine tender USS McKee. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Vietnam Service Medal, Mr. Thomas Bellflower. Jimmy Bench. Mr. Bench. We'll let Mr. Black, so Mr. Bench will be next. Jim Black, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from December 1967 to December of 1969. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Jim served in the 7th Fleet as a radioman, or as you were, radarman, in the Combat Information Center aboard the destroyer USS Epperson. During Vietnam, the Epperson performed naval gunfire support along the coast, protection for aircraft carriers in the Gulf of Tonkin, and surveillance missions. The Epperson took part in Operation Sea Dragon and other operations during the Tet Offensive. He is the recipient of a Combat Action Ribbon, a Navy, as you were, National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Silver Battle Star, a Navy Unit Commendation, a Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal for Korea, a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with a 60 device, and the Republic of Vietnam Meritorious Unit Citation, Mr. Jim Black. Jimmy Bench. Jimmy Bench, Specialist 5, United States Army. Hometown location and service of Taft, California. His dates of service are from September 1968 to April of 1971. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training at Fort Rucker, Alabama and Kessler Air Force Base, Jimmy served with the 284th Air Traffic Control Company, 8th Army as an air traffic controller in Korea. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Air Force Expeditionary Medal, Mr. Jimmy Bench. Ron Black. Ron Black, Captain, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Newhall, California. His dates of service are from January 1968 to April 1971. He received basic training at Fort Benning, Georgia. Ron took officer basic training, 4.2 mortar training, and ranger school at Fort Benning, Georgia. He transferred to 4th Infantry Division at Fort Carson, Colorado. He was assigned to the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam, where he served as a platoon leader and a company commander for combat operations in the A Shaw Valley and other areas in I Corps area. While in Vietnam, he was stationed near Hue at Firebase Eagle and Landing Zone Sally. After 6 months in Vietnam, he served as a company commander in the 708th Maintenance Battalion with the 8th Infantry Division in Baumholder, Germany. He is a recipient of a Ranger Tab, a Combat Infantryman's Badge, a Silver Star, a Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry with 1 Bronze Star, 1 Overseas Bar, a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, Mr. Ron Black. Dewey Bohr. Mr. Dewey Bohr, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Newman, California. His dates of service are from October 1969 to November of 1973. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Dewey served as an air cargo specialist with the 60th Military Aircraft Wing, 8th Aerial Port Squadron at Tan Son Nhut Air Base near Saigon in Vietnam. He worked on many cargo aircraft, including the C-130, the C-124, the DC-8, and C-5s. He served stateside at Travis Air Force Base. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Vietnam Service Medal, Mr. Dewey Bohr. Rick Brower. Rick Brower, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from January 1969 to December of 1972. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Rick served in administration as a munitions squadron, where he took part in a postal and courier service of secret documents. He served stateside at Biloxi Air Force Base in Mississippi and Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico. He served overseas at Teague Air Force Base in South Korea. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Rick Brower. If your last name begins with the letter, thank you, Mr. Salters. If your last name begins with the letter C, will you please join me to my left? Was that Charlie? Oh. Excuse me. Rich Bureau. Rich Bureau. Gunnery Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown, location and service of Iron Mountain, Michigan. His dates of service are from July 1968 to July of 1988. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Over his 20 years of service, Richard served in the 3rd Marine Division, 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines. He served in different positions, including as a dispersing chief at the Kansas City Finance Center. He was stationed in the Philippines, on the island of Okinawa, and on the amphibious assault ship USS Okinawa during Vietnam. He was a recruiter in Jacksonville, Florida for over 8 years. He had duty stations at the Marine Logistics Base in Albany, Georgia, Marine Air Base in Beaufort, South Carolina, and Camp Pendleton, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 star, Meritorious Unit Commendation with 1 star, Certificate of Commendation, Sea Service Deployment Ribbon, and a Navy Unit Commendation, Mr. Rich Bureau. Mr. Ed Butler. Ed Butler, Specialist 4, United States Army. Hometown location and inner service of Montclair, California. His dates of service are from July 1966 to July of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Ed served at the U.S. Army Hospital, Fort Ord, as a colonel's driver. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Ed Butler. Dennis Casarelli. How close was I? Dennis Cascarelli, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown, location, and service of Whittier, California. His dates of service are from October 1966 to September of 1970. Received basic training at Amarillo, Texas. After additional training for aircraft maintenance, Dennis served with the 4th Tactical Fighter Squadron, Pacific Air Command. He was stationed at George Air Force Base near Victorville, California, and served as a crew chief for the F-4 Charlie and the F-4 Delta aircraft. He was stationed in Vietnam at Cam Ranh Bay and the Da Nang Air Base. His last duty station was at Norton Air Force Base in San Bernardino, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, and the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, Mr. Dennis Cascarelli. Otis Caudell Jr. Otis Caudell Jr., Seaman, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown, location, and service of Taft, California. His dates of service are from October 1963 to June of 1967. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Otis served as a boatswain's mate aboard the guided missile cruiser USS Chicago, which was home ported in San Diego. The Chicago was stationed off the coast of Vietnam in the Gulf of Tonkin, taking part in support task force to provide radar coverage, communications relay, and missile defense for the carrier groups. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, Mr. Otis Caudell Jr. Bob Cole. Bob Cole, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown, location, and service of Bakersfield, California. Dates of service from November 1968 to November 1972. Received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Bob served as a radio repairman and a military policeman. He was stationed at 29 Palms, California, and oversees the Yokosuka Naval Base in Japan, Mr. Bob Cole. Leroy Cooper. Leroy Cooper, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown, location, and service of Bakersfield, California. Dates of service are from January 1968 to August of 1970. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. In Vietnam, Leroy served as the 1098th Transport Company as a coxswain on the medium infantry Croft. He was stationed at the Cat Lai on the Saigon River. The boats were responsible for conducting convoys carrying ammunition, fuel, and supplies to support combat operations on the rivers in 3 Corps. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the Army Commendation Medal, Mr. Leroy Cooper. Larry Cox. Larry Cox, Captain, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Location and service of Charleston, South Carolina. Dates of service are from August 1972 to September of 1976. He received basic training at ROTC. Larry entered the Air Force through the ROTC at the University of Arizona. He worked in administration and served as a squadron section commander with the 60th Civil Engineer Squadron at Travis Air Force Base in California. He was also stationed at Kessler Air Force Base in Mississippi. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, Mr. Larry Cox. If your last name begins with the letter D, can you please meet me to my left? Last name begins with the letter D. Larry Crosby. Larry Crosby, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from May 1968 to December 1969. Received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Larry served as an infantryman in Air Cavalry in Vietnam with Charlie Troop, 3rd Squadron, 17th Air Cav, 1st Aviation Brigade. He was stationed at Camp Diane near how do I say that? Did I say that correctly? Dion? Camp Dion near Saigon during the part of the Tet Offensive. The 17th Air Cav Huey helicopter units supported the combat operations of the 1st Infantry Division with aerial recon and gunship support for the infantry operations in 3 Corps. Larry is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, a Combat Infantryman's Badge, an Air Medal, and an Army Commendation Medal, Mr. Larry Crosby. Wayne Cunningham. Stand by. Wayne Cunningham, Petty Officer 1st Class, United States Navy, Vietnam, and Master Sergeant, Air National Guard, and Iraqi Freedom. Hometown location entered service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are in the Navy are from November of 1967 through August of 1969. The Air National Guard from 1992 to September of 2006.
To 1990. Wow. Then from 1990, I went up to Air National Guard until 2006.
Wow.
And you said
Okay, I'm enlisted for the War. And I served in the Navy for 23 years. When I went in, I was going to be a Sea, but I ended up on a ship. So I served 23 years in the Navy in different roles, right? I was with the Motorland and Water Warfare, and also I was with SEMA, which we refitted ships. In 1990, I transferred over to the Air National Guard. And with the Air National Guard, I activated in Iraqi Freedom different times, okay? And I retired in 2006. So that's 60 more years. I put a 39 years on me.
Mr. Wayne Cunningham. Thank you, sir. Dennis Dilley. Dennis Dilley, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Monterey Park, California. His dates of service are from August 1966 to August of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Dennis served as a fire direction chief for the 4.2 Mortars with the 2nd Infantry Division, 72nd Armor Regiment. He was stationed for 14 months at Camp Casey near the DMZ in South Korea. During the time when there were several incursions and firefights with North Korean troops, he was sent to Vietnam for temporary duty. He was stationed stateside at Fort Hood, Texas. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Purple Heart, Mr. Dennis Dilley. Richard Dixon. Richard Dixon, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Taft, California. His dates of service are from August 1973 to August of 1977. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Upon completing radar school, Richard served with the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing at Camp Pendleton, California as a radar operator and a fiscal clerk. He was stationed overseas with the 1st Marine Aircraft Wing at Iwakuni, Japan, and served in the Tactical Air Command Center, which directs all Marine aviation operations in a combat zone. He was also stationed stateside at 29 Palms, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Richard Dixon. Thank you, Charlie. If your last name begins with the letter E or F, can you please meet me to my left? Frank Dominguez, Airman First Class, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from September 1963 to August 1967. Received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Frank served with the Strategic Air Command, where he worked on communications and electronics methods to protect the B-52 bombers and the KC-135 refueling aircraft. He was stationed overseas at Anderson Air Force Base in Guam, Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa, and in Thailand. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, Mr. Frank Dominguez. Veril Jagu. Did I say that right? Yeah. Veril Jagu, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1966 to May of 1969. Received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Veril served as a circuit controller in Vietnam at the 9th Division, 9th Signal Headquarters at Dong Tam Base Camp in the Mekong Delta. He was stationed in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. The Signal Headquarters monitored and managed all Army communications. He was also stationed in Butzbach, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, an Army Commendation, a Bronze Star, and a Vietnamese Unit Citation, Mr. Veril Jagu. Ed Edgman, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1967 to October 1969. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Ed served as a personnel specialist and a clerk typist with the 34th General Support Group in Saigon, which provided general maintenance, supply, and logistics support to Army units in its area of operations. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal, Mr. Ed Edgman. Paul Faria. Paul Faria, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Fresno, California. His dates of service are July 1965 to July of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training at Fort Sam Houston in Texas, Paul served in Vietnam as a combat medic with the 1st Infantry Division in 3 Corps. He was stationed at the division headquarters at Dien and Forward Combat Base Phuc Vinh. He took part in many combat operations, including Operation Big Red in early 1966, the major battle of Operation Birmingham near the Cambodian border in the spring of 1966. He also served stateside at Madigan Hospital at Fort Lewis, Washington. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, 2 overseas bars, a medical badge, and a Bronze Star with V device for valor, Mr. Paul Faria. If your last name begins with the letter G, please meet me to my left. Ricky Flanagan, Private First Class, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of New Cuyama, California. His dates of service are from February 1971 to February 1974. Received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Ricky served with the 575th Ordnance Company at Fort Ord and overseas at Fischbach, Germany. The 575th was an ammunition maintenance and supply unit for both U.S. and NATO forces. He was also stationed stateside at Fort Belvoir and the Aberdeen Proving Grounds in Maryland. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Ricky Flanagan. Tom Fugit, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of La Fuente, California. His dates of service are from March 1974 to July of 1976. Received basic training, San Diego, California. After additional training in San Diego, Tom served as quartermaster and was stationed on the destroyer USS Preble, which was home ported at Pearl Harbor. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Tom Fugit. Ted Garcia. Ted Garcia, Lance Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Fillmore, California. His dates of service are from June 1969 to April of 1971. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Ted served in Vietnam as a mortarman with Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 5th Marines, 1st Marine Division, operating in the Quang Nam Province. His duties included providing indirect fire support and assisting in operations involving the discovery and clearance of enemy tunnel complexes. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, a Vietnam Campaign Medal with device, and a Combat Action Ribbon, Mr. Ted Garcia. Larry, will you say that again?
I said the First Division headquarters was not Dian, it's Zion.
Zion. So here, we're gonna show my age a little bit. I have never been to Vietnam. I did not serve in Vietnam, and I'm not very familiar with a lot of the pronunciations of these Vietnamese cities and battle spaces. So if I murder it, there's about 180 some folks in here that can give it to me. So if you know how to say it, let me hear it from the back. Larry Guy, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from June 1965 to March of 1967. Received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Larry took additional training at Fort Ord for drill sergeant school and then was transferred to Phuoc Vinh, Vietnam, where he served in the infantry as a mortar gunner with Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 2nd Infantry, 1st Infantry Division. He took part in Operation Swift Kick, Operation Abilene, and Operation Birmingham 1 and 2. Larry was in Vietnam for 6 months when he was wounded in combat and was medevac to the 93rd Evac Hospital in Ben Hoa. He was then sent to the Benoit. He was then sent to the K Hospital, Okinawa, where he spent the next 6 months. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, a Combat Infantryman's Badge, and a Purple Heart, Mr. Larry Guy. Mr. Dave Gilliam, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Cold War and Vietnam, hometown location and service of San Pedro, California. His dates of service are from June 1960 to May of 1965. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Dave served as a radioman aboard the carrier USS Hancock, the attack transport USS Magoffin, and the oiler USS Platée. While on board the ships, he was in several locations in the Far East Asia and the West Coast of the United States. Mr. David Gilliam. Ray Gregory. Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bishop, California. His dates of service are from June 1969 to December of 1971. He received training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Ray served in Vietnam, in Bien Thuy, in the headquarters of the 35th Combat Engineer Battalion as a personnel management specialist, responsible for planning and administration coordination, keeping track of the people and equipment. He was also stationed at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Republic of Vietnam Service Medal with 60 device, a Republic of Vietnam Civic Action Medal, First Class, and a Army Commendation Medal. Mr. Ray Gregory. We just lost audio. If your last name begins with the letter H, will you please meet me to my left? Last name begins with the letter H. Lee Guerra, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from June 1962 to July of 1968. He received basic training in Fort Ord, California. Lee served as a personnel specialist and processed soldiers and other military personnel going overseas. He was stationed overseas at U.S. Army headquarters in Heidelberg, Germany, and stateside at the Presidio in Monterey, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Lee Guerra. Jerry Hall. Jerry Hall, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Porterville, California. His dates of service are from October 1965 to August of 1967. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Jerry served with the 1st Infantry Division in Vietnam at the Zion Base Camp as a Special Services Specialist. He once provided security to Bob Hope and Martha Ray. He was also stationed stateside at the Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and an Army Unit Commendation Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal, Mr. Jerry Hall. Pete Harbison. Pete Harbison, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Norwalk, California. His dates of service are from March 1974 to January of 1978. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Pete served as a communication cryptographic operator for Commander Amphibious Group 1, the Navy command responsible for directing major Navy and Marine Corps amphibious task forces in the Pacific. He was assigned to the command and communication ship USS Blue Ridge, which he supported secure communications for amphibious operations and fleet coordination. He was also stationed at Pensacola, Florida, the Pentagon, and overseas in Japan at Okinawa. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal. Mr. Pete Harbison. Raymond Herrera. Ramon Herrera, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown, location year of service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from February 1971 to February of 1973. He received basic training at Fort Lewis in Washington. After artillery AIT at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Ramon was transferred to Babenhausen, Germany, where he served with 2nd Battalion, 5th Field Artillery, and operated the 155 millimeter and 175 millimeter howitzer cannons. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Ramon Herrera. Nick Hayart. Seaman, United States. Hayart. Nick, you tell me.
Oh, it's higher.
Nick Hayart, Seaman, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location unit service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from September 1965 to July of 1967. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Nick served aboard the destroyer tender USS Piedmont as a second-class diver, where he performed underwater maintenance and ship repair on the screws, rudder, and sonar domes. The Piedmont was stationed in Sasebo, Japan, and was also deployed to Subic Bay in the Philippines and the Kaohsiung, Taiwan. Kaohsiung? He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Nick Hayart. Lillard Hill, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location unit service in McFarland, California. His dates of service are from January 1973 to January of 1975. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After AIT at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, Lillard served with the 3rd Battalion, 84th Air Defense Artillery as a Pershing nuclear missile crewman at Necklarsum, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Lillard Hill. Would you like to? Mr. Bill Holt, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from July 1965 to July of 1975. He received basic training at Fort Polk, Louisiana.
So Bill, you're saying there's a discrepancy with your bio here? Okay. Would you like to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, okay, talk about it.
Give me about a 1-2 minute thing.
Come over here, please. Bill, can you tell me about your services?
Yes, joined the service in 1965 and continued with the service until 1975. I guarded the President of the United States for a year, whenever the President went and guarded his family. Beyond that, I was in Disposal, UOD, served in UOD to about 15 other different companies in Disposal, and was awarded a Bronze President of the United States for a whole year. And whenever the President went, ABC studios, all football games, all baseball games, and anything else that the President wanted to do, I was right beside him all the time. So, I don't have my resume with me right now. They wouldn't allow me to bring it. So I have a lot more to talk about. I think that's enough.
If your last name begins with the letter I or J, can you please meet me to my left? Kenneth Horton. Kenneth Horton, Petty Officer, Second Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. His hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. Dates of service are from July 1969 to August 1973. Received basic training in San Diego, California. After completing aviation school in Millington, Tennessee, Kenneth served as an aviation structural mechanic, maintaining and repairing the Corsair A-72, which was a carrier-based attack jet. He served with the Light Attack Squadron 25, which was attached to the carrier USS Ranger, which was home-ported in Subic Bay, Philippines, but conducted operations off the shore of Vietnam. He also served on the carrier USS Constitution. He was stationed stateside at Bremerton, Washington, at the Naval Air Station in Lemoore, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal. Mr. Kenneth Horton. Mike Huckert. Mike Huckert, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from November 1967 to July 1969. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Mike completed AIT at Fort Polk, Louisiana, specializing in psychological operations. He served with the 198th Infantry Brigade, a Miracle Division, which was headquartered in Chu Lai, Vietnam. During the Tet Offensive, while in Vietnam, he served with an infantry unit conducting PSYOPs in Chu Hoi. He also served as a driver for the company commander. Mike is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, a Combat Infantryman's Badge, and 2 overseas bars. Mr. Mike Huckert. Michael Hughes. Michael Hughes, are you in the room? So we will take a moment on our flight home tomorrow to recognize Mike on our trip. George Ingino. George Ingino, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Elmont, New York. Dates of service from March 1967 to March of 1969. He received basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. George served in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive with the 1st Cavalry Division, Air Mobile, Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 8th Cavalry Regiment as part of the Light Weapons Infantry Unit. He conducted search and destroy missions in several areas of operations, including Bong Sun, Hue, Quang Tri, and the A Shaw Valley. He was also stationed stateside at Fort Dix, New Jersey. George is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, a Combat Infantryman's Badge, an Air Medal, a Purple Heart, and 2 overseas bars. Mr. George Ingino. If your last name begins with the letter K or L, can you meet me to my left, please? Mr. Thomas James. Thomas James, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from March 1966 to November of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Thomas served in Vietnam with the 63rd Engineer Battalion at Quang Nam as a crawler tractor operator. These bulldozers were used to build roads, airfields, and base camps. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device and 2 overseas bars. Mr. Thomas James. Mr. Carl Janke, are you here? Okay. Well, John Jurich. John Jurich, Sergeant, United States Army and Army National Guard, Vietnam. Hometown, location area of service of Woodland Hills, California. His dates of service are from April 1967 to October of 1971. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. John served in the Army National Guard, including 3 months active duty. He was based in Burbank, California, and served as a training sergeant. Mr. John Jurich.
Hey, Carl.
Carl Janke. Carl Janke, Captain, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Santa Monica, California. His dates of service are August 1963 to November of 1965. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Carl entered the Army through ROTC and served as a consolidated mess officer with the 24th Infantry Division in Augsburg, Germany. A consolidated mess officer was responsible for overseeing all food service operations for multiple military units combined under one consolidated dining facility. Mr. Carl Janke. John. Terry Kimmel. Terry Kimmel, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are February 1969 to October of 1970. Received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Terry took additional training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and served with the 299th Combat Engineer Battalion in many areas in I Corps in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. Terry operated a road grader and responsible for building and maintaining roads and airfields. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, an Army Commendation Medal, 2 overseas bars, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal. Mr. Terry Kimmel. Leonard King. Leonard King, Tech Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Thousand Oaks, California. His dates of service are from January 1966 to January of 1970. Received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. After tech school in Wichita Air Force Base, Texas, and additional training in Kincheola Air Force Base in Michigan, Leonard served as an aircraft mechanic and crew chief for B-52s with the 449th Bomb Wing, which was part of the Strategic Air Command. He was stationed overseas at Henderson Air Force Base in Guam, and then later to Da Nang Air Base, Thailand, and Okinawa. He returned to Michigan for a short time, then he transferred to the 39th Tactical Wing in Izmir Air Base in Turkey. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, 3 Air Force commendations for meritorious service. Mr. Leonard King. Rick Locke. Rick Locke, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Panorama City, California. His dates of service are December 1964 to November of 1968. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Rick served as an aircraft refueling specialist with the 37th Field Maintenance Squadron, Pacific Air Forces. Overseas, he served at Yokota Air Base, Japan, Osan Air Base in Korea, Kaneda Air Base in Okinawa with a Provisional Air Unit, combat air support at Phuket Air Base in Vietnam. Stateside, he was stationed at Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, and the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal. Mr. Rick Locke. Harrison Lastly. Harrison Lastly, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1971 to July of 1975. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Harrison served as an administrative specialist and a personnel clerk. He was stationed at the 32nd Street Naval Base in San Diego. Overseas, he served aboard the guided missile destroyer USS John S. McCain which conducted naval gunfire support for military operations in Vietnam. He was also assigned to the amphibious transport USS Dubec, which took part in Operation Sweep, which removed the mines at the Haiphong Harbor in North Vietnam at the end of the war. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 service star, and the Vietnam Campaign Medal. Mr. Harrison, lastly. Mike Lawner. Mike Lawner, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Lancaster, California. His dates of service are from December 1965 to December of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After AIT at Fort Gordon, Georgia, Mike served with the 71st Maintenance Battalion as a radio repair technician in Kinzingen and Schweinfurt, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Sharpshooter Badge. Mr. Mike Lawner. Gary Leary. Gary Leary, Lance Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from December 1964 to December of 1968. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Gary served at Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center, 29 Palms, California. He was a part of a gun crew operating the M110 self-propelled howitzer. He also served as instructor on the rifle range at Camp Matthews near La Jolla. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal. Mr. Gary Leary. If your last name begins with the letter M, can you meet me to my left? Ron Lovell. Ron Lovell, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Fresno, California. His dates of service are from August 1967 to August of 1975. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Rod served as a radio operator with an artillery unit in Vietnam. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 service star, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal, and 1 overseas bar. Mr. Rod Lovell. Gary Lumpkins. Gary Lumpkins, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Raisin City, California. His dates of service are from July 1968 to July of 1974. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. After completing AIT at Fort Gordon, Georgia, he served as a radio relay and carrier attendant. In 1969, he completed jungle warfare training in Panama. He served overseas in Osan, Korea, with the 4th Battalion, 44th Artillery, 8th Army, as the battalion commander's driver, and a communications specialist at the Nike Hercules missile base. He was also stationed stateside at Fort Carson, Colorado. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, a sharpshooter badge for both the M14 and M16 rifle. Mr. Gary Lumpkins. Ron Lundy. Ron Lundy, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from December 1965 to December 1967. He received basic training at Camp Pendleton, California. Ron served in Vietnam as an armored Amtrak crew chief with a POW 6 battery, 1st Armored Amtrak Company attached to the 3rd Marine Division. His unit provided fire support near Da Nang Air Base and took part in amphibious landings in the Mekong Delta during Operation Deckhouse 5 in January 1967. He also participated in direct fire artillery support missions for infantry units operating along the DMZ near Dong Ha. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal. Mr. Ron Lundy. Stan Main. Stan Main, Airman First Class, United States Air Force, Cold War and Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Kingston, New York. Dates of service are from October 1960 to October 1964. Received basic training in San Antonio, Texas. After AIT at Chanute Air Force Base in Illinois, Stan served as an aircraft electrician servicing B-47s and AC-97s. He was also stationed in Pease Air Base in New Hampshire. Mr. Stan, Maine. Willie Manasala, Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location, entered service of Sangley Point, Philippines. His dates of service are from October 1967 to September of 1987. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Over his 20-year career, Willie served for 5 years as a CB building runways in Diego Garcia, Puerto Rico, and Guam. He then served as a mess management specialist in bases in Rhode Island, Virginia, and Illinois. He was stationed in several different ships, including the frigate USS Tripp, the helicopter amphibious assault ship USS Iwo Jima, and the seaplane tender USS Valcour, and the destroyer USS Prairie. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, 2 Navy Achievement Medals, 2 Sea Service Deployment Ribbons. Mr. Willie Manasala. Billy McCausland. Billy McCausland, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Tulare, California. His dates of service are from September 1968 to June of 1971. Received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Billy served in stock control, accounting, and drove a forklift in supply and support at Army headquarters in Long Binh, Vietnam. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal. Thank you. A Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, 2 overseas bars, and sharpshooter badges for both the M16 and M14, Mr. Billy McCausland. Gary McCausland. Are you 2 brothers? Very well. Gary McCausland, Airman. So these 2 brothers are accompanied by their 2 daughters? By your 2 daughters. Well, thank you very much for serving as guardian. Gary McCausland, Airman, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Tulare, California. His dates of service are from July 1962 to March of 1966. Received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Gary served as a ground electronics engineer in the Mekong Delta, Vietnam. He worked as a communications lineman, installing and maintaining towers, antennas, and communication lines vital to air operators. He also served stateside at Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico, Elman Air Force Base in Alaska. He is the recipient of a Vietnam Service Medal, a National Defense Service Medal, and an expert marksmanship medal, Mr. Gary McCausland. Jerry McGill. Jerry McGill, Seaman, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Early Mark, California. His dates of service are from January 1970 to November of 1971. He received basic training at San Diego, California. Jerry served as a molder, working on the ship's foundry to cast replacement metal parts for the ship's machinery and equipment. He served aboard the destroyer tender USS Dixie, which was home ported in San Diego, California. He deployed on Westpac cruises to Japan, the Philippines, and Hong Kong. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Jerry McGill. Ron Mello. Ron Mello, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Tulare, California. His dates of service are from January 1967 to July of 1969. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Ron served in Vietnam with the 52nd Infantry, 1st Cav Division, conducting long-range recon patrols in I Corps and the A Shaw Valley, Quang Tri, and Phuc Vinh. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, a parachute badge, a combat infantryman's badge, and a Purple Heart, Mr. Ron Mello. If your last name begins with the letter N, can you please meet me to my left? Alfredo Mendez. Alfredo Mendez, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from September 1968 to September of 1970. Received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Alfredo completed both basic and advanced infantry training at Fort Lewis, Washington. He served overseas and often as Schaffenburg, Germany, as a platoon leader with Bravo Company, 1st and 4th Infantry, 3rd Infantry Division, where he was assigned as a driver on an armored personnel carrier. He served stateside at Fort Knox, Kentucky. He is the recipient of an expert marksmanship badge. Mr. Alfredo Mendez. Stanley Miller. Stanley Miller, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1962 through December of 1963, and then again from 1983 to 1985. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Stanley served in the United States Navy as a yeoman aboard the ammunition ship USS Rainier. The Rainier made several deployments to the Pacific, transporting ammunition to carriers and support ships stationed off the coast of Vietnam as the war escalated. He was later transferred to Pearl Harbor, where he worked as a background investigator with a top secret clearance. In 1983, he re-entered the Navy and served as a recruiter in San Diego for 2 years. Mr. Stanley Miller. If your last name begins with the letter P, can you please meet me to my left? John Nolan. John Nolan, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam, and Commander, United States Navy. Hometown location and service of Lone Pine, California. His dates of service are from September 1962 to August of 1976 in the United States Marine Corps. And then from 1978 to 2007 in the United States Navy. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Over his long career, John first served with the 4th Marine Air Wing at Andrews Air Force Base as an aviation electronics technician. In 1978, he entered the Navy as an officer and served in naval aviation, first as a crewman on the P-3 Sub Hunter, as a radio operator. Later in his career, he served as a Navy intel officer from 2006 to 2007 in the Middle East. His many awards include the Navy Achievement Medal and Navy Commendation Medal for Meritorious Service. John, did I miss anything?
Yeah, no, it's all done.
Mr. John Nolan. Tom Noland. John and Tom are brothers. Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Lone Pine, California. His dates of service are from October 1968 to September of 1972. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Tom trained as a radio relay repairman and served as a corrections guard in the brig. He served at Marine Barracks at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and the Marine Barracks at Seal Beach, California. He also served overseas at Lajes Airfield in the Azores, Portugal. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Rifle Marksmanship Badge. Mr. Tom Nolan. Phil Parent. Phil Parent, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Phoenix, Arizona. His dates of service are from October 1974 to October of 1980. Received basic training in Lackland Air Force Base, Texas. Phil served with the 35th Tactical Air Command as an avionics as a Doppler navigation radar technician, maintaining and calibrating the inertial and radar navigation systems on the F-105 Thunder Chief and the F-4 Phantom II aircraft. He was stationed at he was stationed at George Air Force Base in Victorville, California. He is the recipient of the Air Force Longevity Service Award ribbon, Mr. Phil Parent. Bob Pena. Bob Pena, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from June 1970 to January of 1972. Received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Bob served with Company B, 2nd Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment as a driver in Schweinfurt, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Bob Pena. Mr. Jim Pendleton. Jim Pendleton, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Lorain, Ohio. His dates of service are from August 1972 to August of 1976. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Jim served as an aircraft fuel systems mechanic with the 60th Field Maintenance Squadron at Travis Air Force Base, California. He was responsible for inspecting, maintaining, and repairing fuel systems on large transport and refueling aircraft. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, and an Air Force Longevity Award, Mr. Jim Pendleton. Pete Perez Jr., are you in the room? Pete. Okay, Pete, we will recognize you on our return trip home tomorrow afternoon. Mr. Robert Pettigrew. Robert Pettigrew, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of New York, New York. His dates of service are September 1969 to November of 1977. He received basic training at Fort Gordon, Georgia. After Quartermaster AIT School in Fort Lee, Virginia, Robert served in unit supply and small arms repair. He was transferred to South Korea and then served in supply at Fort Belvoir, Virginia and Fort Meade, Maryland. His final duty station was with Company A in the 394th Transportation Battalion in Germany, supplying service and repair for helicopters. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Mr. Robert Pettigrew.
That's my dad! Yeah! Yeah!
Would you prefer I call you Cookie? Or would you prefer Frank?
Mr. Frank Cookie Pizzo. He's a Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Okay, now I know this one is. His hometown location entered service of Van Nuys, California. His dates of service are from February 1969 to August 1972. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. After completing AIT, Frank served at the Nakhon Phanom Royal Thai Air Base as a weapons technician loading bombs on A-1 Skyraider aircraft used for search and rescue missions. After 13 months overseas, he returned to Travis Air Force Base in California. He later deployed to Vietnam for a second overseas tour, serving in Da Nang Air Base as an aerial gunner on the AC-119 Stinger gunship with the 18th Special Operations Squadron. Their mission included flying the Ho Chi Minh Trail to destroy enemy supply convoys and provide air support for troops on the ground. Nearly 2 decades later, Frank joined the Air National Guard as an aeromedical evacuation technician. After completing Air Force medical training, he became a licensed vocational nurse and deployed worldwide with the 146th Aeromedical Evacuation Squadron, training Allied personnel and evacuating the wounded from combat zones, including Kandahar, Afghanistan. Among his many direct decorations include the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, and the Misselman Badge. Over his long career, he completed 2 tours in Vietnam, 4 tours in the Persian Gulf, 1 in Bosnia, and numerous missions across the globe. He achieved the rank of Master Sergeant and received additional awards, including 6 Air Medals, the Distinguished Flying Cross with 2 Oak Leaf Clusters, the Meritorious Service Medal with 2 Oak Leaf Clusters, Presidential Unit Citation with 3 Oak Leaf Clusters, and the Afghanistan Campaign Medal and the Iraqi Campaign Medal, Mr. Frank Pizzo. If your last name begins with the letter R, can you please meet me to my left? Mr. John Price. John Price, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from February 1971 to January of 1973. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. John served in communications as a wireman with the 101st Airborne at Camp Eagle near Hue. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 2 overseas bars, Mr. John Price. Luis Ramos. Luis Ramos, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from June 1972 to January of 1980. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Lewis served with the 4th Infantry Division, 64th Armored Battalion as a tank commander. He was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, and Wiesbaden Air Base in Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a sharpshooter badge for the M16 rifle, Mr. Luis Ramos. Don Rathbone. Don Rathbone, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Fresno, California. His dates of service are from October 1962 to August of 1965. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Don served with the Seagoing Marine Detachment in the Advanced Infantry, performing general guard duties and serving as the captain's orderly when he was stationed aboard the USS Wright, a World War II era aircraft carrier. He was also stationed in Bremerton, Washington, and Norfolk, Virginia. Mr. Don Rathbone. Eddie Reed. Eddie Reed, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from September 1965 to September of 1969. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Eddie served in Vietnam at Chu Lai with the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing as an aviation ordnanceman, where he was responsible for loading and maintaining the ordnance and related equipment on A-4 Skyhawks. A portion of his time in Vietnam was during the Tet Offensive. He also served stateside at El Toro Marine Corps Air Station. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 star, a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, and a Combat Action Ribbon, Mr. Eddie Reed. If your last name begins with the letter S, please join me to my left. If your last name begins with the letter S, please join me to my left. Michael Rivers. Michael Rivers, Petty Officer 2nd Class, Vietnam, as you were. Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Long Beach, California. His dates of service are from January 1975 to January of 1979. Received basic training in San Diego, California. Michael served as an aviation mate aboard the carrier USS Ranger. His duties included directing and positioning aircraft on the flight and hangar decks, as well as firefighting and maintaining safety equipment. He was on several cruises while on the Ranger, including to Subic Bay, Philippines, and post-Vietnam cruises to the Tonkin Bay. Mr. Michael Rivers. John Rondell. John Rondell, Seaman, United States Coast Guard Reserves, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Agoura, California. Our dates of service are from May 1971 to July of 1977. He received basic training at Government Island, Alameda, California. John served as an engineman on the patrol boat USCG Cape Hedge and was stationed at Yorktown, Virginia. Mr. John Rondell. Isaac Sacco, are you in the room? No? We will recognize Isaac on our trip home tomorrow afternoon. Patrick Schmidt. Patrick Schmidt, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Camarillo, California. His dates of service are from September 1970 to September of 1972. He received basic training in San Diego, California. After AIT at Treasure Island in California, Patrick served aboard the destroyer USS Hollister and as an electronics radar technician. The Hollister operated within 7th Fleet in the South China Sea and Gulf of Tonkin, providing coastal patrol, escort, and combat support operations. Patrick took part in the 1972 daylight raid on Quang Yang, which was a naval bombardment to take out an enemy radar station. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Vietnam Service Medal. Mr. Patrick Schmidt. Herb Snell. Herb Snell, Seaman, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Bishop, California. His dates of service are from September 1968 to November of 1972. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Herb served as a hospital corpsman with the 7th Fleet in San Diego aboard the amphibious assault ship USS Valley Forge. He also served aboard the destroyer USS Decatur, both of which sailed on Westpacs, including off the coast of Vietnam. He was stationed stateside at Camp Pendleton, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and the Vietnam Service Medal. Mr. Herb Snell. Jeff Stabile, Airman, 1st Class, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Douglaston, New York. Dates of service from February 1963 to February of 1967. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. After jet engine school in Amarillo, Texas, Jeff served with the 22nd Bomb Wing, 15th Air Force as a jet engine mechanic, servicing B-52s and KO-135 aircraft. He was stationed primarily at March Air Force Base in California with temporary duty in Guam and the Philippines. Mr. Jeff Stabile. Terrence Staley. Terrence Staley, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Huntington Park, California. His dates of service are from April 1969 to April of 1973. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Terry served in Vietnam as an air cargo specialist with Detachment 5, 8th Aerial Port Squadron at one of the busiest military airports in the country, Ben Hoa. He was also stationed stateside at Edwards Air Force Base, March Air Force Base in California. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal. Mr. Terrence Staley. Mr. Ken Stevens. Ken Stevens, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Tehachapi, California. His dates of service are from September 1966 to September of 1969. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Ken served as a medical records clerk he was stationed at Fort Huachuca in Arizona, Fort Carson in Colorado, and Fort Sam Houston, Texas. He was also deployed to Fort Gulick in the Panama Canal Zone. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Ken Stevens. If your last name begins with the letter T or W, please join me to my left. Mr. Bob Strong. Bob Strong, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Lafayette, Indiana. His dates of service are from August 1961 to June of 1966. Received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Bob served with the 1st Marine Division, 6th Engineer Battalion. He served in the Cuban crisis. After 100 hours of language school in Arabic and additional instruction at the Embassy School in Washington, D.C., he was assigned to the Embassy Security Force in Cairo, Egypt for 2 years. He was stationed stateside at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, where he served as an instructor on the rifle range. He is the recipient of a Marine Corps Expeditionary Medal, an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, and an Expert Rifle Marksmanship Badge, Mr. Bob Strong. Mr. Bruce Trenholm, Lance Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of China Lake, California. His dates of service are from September 1966 to February of 1970. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot in San Diego, California. Bruce served in Vietnam as a fire director, artillery scout observer, where his area of operations was in I Corps. In his first tour in Vietnam, he served with Delta Company, 1st Battalion, 7th Marines. And during his second tour, he was assigned to Lima Company, 7th Marines. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 3 stars, a Vietnam Campaign Medal with device, a Combat Action Ribbon, a Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry, the Presidential Unit Citation, and 2 Purple Hearts, Mr. Bruce Trenholm. Vern Wagner. Vern Wagner, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Air Force, Vietnam, and Desert Storm. Hometown location entered service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from 1966 to 1971, 1976 to 1985, and then 1990 and 1991. He received basic training at Shepherd Air Force Base in Texas. After graduating from medical school, Vern joined the Air Force and served 16 years active duty and 16 years active reserve. During the Vietnam War, he served as a flight surgeon, caring for pilots and Special Forces personnel. He was stationed with the 8th Tactical Fighter Group in Ubon Royal Thai Air Base and the NKP Air Base in Thailand. In 1968 through 69, he served with the 327th Combat Support Group in Vietnam at Cam Ranh Bay and Nha Trang in Thailand in 1970. In addition to his military duties, he provided OBGYN and primary care services to local civilians and participated in several pilot rescue missions. Over his long career, he served as a physician in many military bases all over the world, including Saudi Arabia during Desert Storm. For his Vietnamese service, he is the recipient of the National Service Defense Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, a Combat Air Medal, and an Air Force Expeditionary Medal, Mr. Vern Wagner. Wes Walker. Wes Walker, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Salina, California. His dates of service are from October 1972 to October 1975. He received basic training at San Diego, California. Wes served as a machinist mate, operating and maintaining all the machinery in the ship's engine room. aboard the landing personnel ship USS Denver. During his service, the Denver deployed to several locations in the Pacific, including off the coast of Vietnam, providing support to amphibious and fleet operations. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, and a Navy Unit Commendation, Mr. Wes Walker. Mike Wehunt. Mike Wehunt, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Maricopa, California. His dates of service are from February 1970 to May of 1977. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Mike served as a heating systems technician with the 323rd Civil Engineering Squadron at Mather Air Force Base in California. The CES was responsible for the construction, maintenance, and repair of bases and of base facilities and airfield infrastructure. Mike was also stationed on a remote island at the Shemya Air Force Base in Alaska. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Marksmanship Badge, and an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, Mr. Mike Wehunt. Jim Weldon. Jim Weldon, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service, Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from August 1967 to August of 1971. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. After AIT at Chinook Air Base in Illinois, Jim served at Edwards Air Force Base as an aircraft non-destructive inspector, which was responsible for detecting cracks, corrosion, and structural defects in aircraft. He served overseas in Taiwan at the Ching Chuan Kang Air Base with a TDY. Come on, guys. I'm doing my best. With a TDY to Da Nang Air Base in Vietnam. He also served stateside at George Air Force Base in California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Jim Weldon. Bill White. Bill White, Airman First Class, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from August 1974 to December of 1976. Received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Bill served with the 602nd Tactical Air Command Center as an aerospace early warning system operator at Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin, Texas. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Bill White. Donna Wolf. Donna Wolf, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Reseda, California. Her dates of service are from June 1966 to October of 1967. She received basic training at Fort McClellan, Alabama. After additional training, Donna was stationed at the Letterman General Hospital in San Francisco, where she served as a clinical specialist. It was in this capacity that she had the very difficult job of caring for the severely wounded who would return from the battlefields in Vietnam. She is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Donna Wolf. Chuck Wyckoff. Chuck Wyckoff, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Avenal, California. His dates of service are from February 1965 to March of 1967. He received basic training at Fort Polk, Louisiana. Chuck served as a clerk in the 3rd Armored Division headquarters in Frankfurt, Germany. He was also stationed stateside at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Chuck Wyckoff. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Honor Flight 52. So that concludes this portion of our ceremony this evening. I've had several conversations with our veterans throughout our trip, and many people have shared stories either about their service, about their experience on Honor Flight, about how being with this group has impacted your lives. I'll tell you this is my 5th opportunity to serve as the tour leader for this trip. It's a privilege that I hold very close to my heart. It is an absolute honor to be amongst the men and women of Flight 52. And I'm damn proud to be an American standing in this room right here, right now. Thank you, Honor Flight 52. One more time for Congressman Vince Fong and Sergeant Major Croft. If there is anyone that would like to say a couple words to the group, I'll bring the microphone to you. Now is your time. Is there anyone that would like to say some words? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Selena. My dad is Ted Garcia. I've had the honor of not only being the granddaughter and the daughter of veterans. My paternal grandfather was a World War II veteran. He was there when they were in Normandy and got apart. Paternal grandfather was in Korea, and of course my dad is a Vietnam vet. I also have the privilege of taking care of veterans every day at my work, and I actually have some of them here today too. Raise your hand if you're here. I know for the Vietnam veterans it is especially hard, and it was hard when you came home. I've heard my dad speak of it many times. So I'm hoping that this trip has brought you some peace, and I also hope that what my dad has shared with me, you feel as well. He said that he never got this, what he's getting now, the respect and the honor. And I hope that brings you some peace. And if you haven't heard it, welcome home and thank you for your service. Well. Let me tell you something. As being a daughter of the Vietnam vets, a grandmother of a Pearl Harbor survivor, a veteran myself, a mother of a vet, and mother-in-law of an active duty soldier, it is so honored to be here. You guys have no way. I have cried so much today, it's ridiculous. But here it is, looking at the Vietnam vets, being able to see you and talk to you makes it where I could be talking to my dad. My dad lost his life 4 years after having known Vietnam. But the thing of it is, I remember how they treated him. And it hurt my heart. And he's the reason I was in the military. But I want to tell you guys are amazing. You have some of the best stories. And you guys are so funny. And I'm so honored to be here. This is not being my first flight. It'll probably be one of several while I'm here in California. You guys
honor flight. Because you know what? There's a lot of you here, and I was good at it. You had to push to get the honor flight. And now you're here, and it changed your life, okay? Now, don't let the excitement end in a week or 2 weeks down the line. You see a veteran, get him on honor flight, okay? Because sometimes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I had a great time, and ease off. Don't let it ease off. We always need veterans for honor flight. That's what keeps us going, okay? So just knock on doors, or whatever you have to do, convince them. Like again, I'll say again, a lot of us had to be convinced. Convince them that this is the way to go. Especially, and I have one guy at the gym, Vietnam veteran army. Okay, he won't come to my fight. I've tried and tried and tried. You know what he said? Which is absolutely insane because he's the one that needs to go. He says, too many memories, bad memories. Well, you need to come to honor flight. Really, there's a lot of us like that. But anyway, don't get excitement, waste. Let's get some veterans on the honor flight. Thank you.
My man has not been as long as his. How many got to see Bob Hope when you were in Vietnam? Was that one of the greatest shows that you ever saw? For those of you who did not get the opportunity to see him, he is the gentleman that you think he should be. He treats veterans with the most kindness that you could ever think of. The show that I had, that I was responsible for, it was technical difficulty with the equipment. It was the only time I heard him raise his voice because the equipment broke down and the troops were not being entertained at that moment. I guarantee you that crew hopped to it and got it taken care of. Now, Martha Ray, when I picked her up at the airport, I asked her, I said, Ms. Ray, my name's Maggie. She said, okay. She was a hoot, rough, tough. Would you like to go see the officers? I want you to take me to your hoots. I want to meet the guys bunkering with you and all the troops first. After she went, she spent probably 2 hours visiting with all those drunks. And she says, okay, let's go see the a-holes. Another little note, do you know that she was a registered nurse? Martha Ray was a registered nurse, and while she was in country, she actually helped wounded soldiers over there. Tremendous lady. Anyway, for those of you that didn't get to have the opportunity to do the little other things other than crawl around in the ice days, there was a lot of other things going on to help make it easier for all of us. Well, thank you, Fire Pit 2. What time are we meeting for breakfast tomorrow? What time are we getting on the bus? Make sure that you bring all of your personal belongings down with you. We are not returning to the hotel.
Is there some, sir, would you like? Okay. Larry, would you like to say something? Absolutely. Come here, Larry.
I'd like to tell the story about the proudest I've ever been in my country. When I got into Vietnam, when I said I served that hospital in Guam. And we were only about 3 days to get out of country. But I noticed there was 5 or 6 blind kids walking around the ward
I just want to take a second and put out some thank yous. Thank you for the very small. And these people I'm going to thank, and hopefully everyone of you in the room is a veteran, will thank them, is the people that put together this honor flag.
Yeah.
If you get a second, thank the medical staff. These two people that work there, rear ends to the ground with filming, and back there with all of our white coats. These people work their buttons for the ground, so if you get a chance, give them a hug, give them a handshake, just say that word, thank you, because they need it. Thank you.
I nearly made it through the entire evening. Thank you very much. 5:52. See you tomorrow morning.
Thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for filling out that application and coming on this trip, okay? It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Made it. If you got a name, thank you. This gentleman would like to talk.
Yeah. Give me a minute.
Yes, sir. Harry.
Great.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed your on-flight. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
That's right. Stand here and wait. Stand here and wait. I've been wondering about that. You have to be living with it. That way they